Hi everyone, we're delighted today to have Claire Sutton with us to talk about apprenticeships. But just first, Claire, how did you get involved in apprenticeships overall?
That's a very good question. About 20 years ago, I got a job with an apprenticeship training provider. I'm a marketing professional and I'm also a scout in my spare time. So working with a training provider to recruit their apprentices was kind of the coming together of hobby and work in many ways. So that was 20 years ago. Since then, I have become an apprentice ambassador, and actually I also train apprentices in marketing as well now. So, yeah.
Cool. So what is an apprenticeship?
Good question. An apprenticeship is, in my view, kind of the best of both worlds between having a job, so work experience, money, those kinds of things, starting a career, and also gaining qualifications, so getting nationally recognised qualifications. An apprenticeship allows you to do both at the same time. To quote the catchphrase, you earn while you learn.
Oh, and I like that.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, and do they come in different levels? I mean, how does it work?
Yeah, absolutely. An apprenticeship, you can start at any point in your career, and so there are levels that will suit that. So I've got, this is very low tech screen sharing for you. So starting off on this side, level 2 apprenticeships. Now a level 2 qualification is roughly equivalent to a good handful of GCSEs. So you can do intermediate apprenticeships at level 2. So that's often perhaps somebody who's just left school or looking to step into a new career, a new set of skills. Level 3 apprenticeships, that's kind of A-level equivalent. So that's perhaps developing skills. And then we come right all the way up, as you can see over on the right-hand side, right up to level 7. So level 6 is a degree. Level 7 is then postgraduate. So things like chartered professional qualifications. You can now do an apprenticeship, for example, to be a chartered accountant. So some very higher level degree and postgraduate apprenticeships as well now. So suitable for anybody potentially at any point in their career.
Right, and I get that earn as you learn, which is a great strapline for people to remember. But why do you think they're a really good thing to do?
I think probably because of that, actually. You are not just gaining qualifications in perhaps the dry environment of a classroom or a lecture theatre, but you're actually taking those qualifications and you're applying them at work. So the balance in an apprenticeship is that you will spend at least 20% of your time in structured learning. So what we usually think of as perhaps the day release, although today it might not be strictly day release, but 20% of your time. And then you get the opportunity to come back and apply it in the workplace and actually see how it works. So it's not just theory. You have the advantage, of course, of starting your career. So you're actually gaining experience. So it gives you lots of things other than just qualifications to put on your CV as well. So very flexible. And as I said at the beginning, the best of both worlds, in my view.
Mm-hmm. So how would I get one? How would I get one if I would?
Yeah, good question. There are around about 28,000 apprenticeship vacancies posted in England every year. So there are quite a lot of them about. I have to be honest and say that the degree and higher end of the apprenticeships are relatively new. They've only been around in that format for maybe 8 to 10 years. So that's where all the growth is. And it's probably that end of the scale that are much more sought after, perhaps understandably so. But yeah, as I say, about 28,000 vacancies every year. And I would say the best place to start, another low-tech flashcard, gov.uk website. You literally go to Google and you type in find an apprenticeship. And hopefully one of the first non-advert search results that turns up is one that looks like this, a gov.uk website. About 90% of those apprenticeship vacancies will go onto the Find an Apprenticeship website during the year. So that is a really, really good place to start. And I also say it's a really good place to start, even if you're not actively applying. You don't have to create an account to look. So if you are year 10, say, and you're thinking, I might want to do this next year, it's also a good place just to have a look around. What kinds of employers, what kinds of jobs, what kind of colleges are offering these apprenticeships? So the Find an Apprenticeship website is a really, really good place to start.
Mm. And I mean, you mentioned year 10s, but is it just year 10s that do apprenticeships, or is this a bigger scale?
No, absolutely. One of my apprentices a year or two ago turned 50 whilst he was doing his apprenticeship with me.
Oh, is it?
He was doing it as a slight career change, I guess. He'd been in sales for a very long time and was looking to shift, understand marketing a bit more. So he and his employer discussed it, and actually he did a marketing apprenticeship with me. He was a great student to have, I have to say. It was great to work with him. But yeah, probably most of the people applying for apprenticeships are perhaps at that younger age, school leavers, college leavers. But yeah, absolutely no reason why anybody couldn't do one later in life. The only restriction might be, perhaps quite logically, if you've already done a degree in engineering, you're probably not going to get the funding to do a degree apprenticeship in engineering as well. You might do a degree apprenticeship in project management, so a different skill set, or you might get the opportunity to do a higher level in that skill set. But that perhaps would be the only reason. If you've already got qualifications in that area, you know, what would be the point? There would be no funding, I would suggest, for that.
So more of a career change.
Yeah, or a promotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great example.
Yeah.
And you talked about you doing apprenticeships for your industry. Are there limitations, or is it any industry can do apprenticeships, or certain businesses? What's the limitations, or are there any?
Well, there aren't really any. What we've seen, as I say, certainly in the 20 years I've been working with apprenticeships and apprentices, 20 years ago, they tended to be the very traditional sort of skilled trades. So your electricians, your plumbers, your hairdressers, that kind of thing. But what we've seen over that period is lots of other industries have woken up and gone, do you know what? That model really works. Why aren't we doing that? So this is where you get the chartered accountants, the architects, the lawyers, some of the more what we've thought of as professions adopting the apprenticeship model. So a great place to look. I haven't got an unlimited supply of these, I promise. I don't know well you can see that. The Institute for Apprenticeships website, they have a list of every single apprenticeship standard that's either already in existence or is being written. And what happens when I say it's being written is that industry will identify the need and go, oh, hang on, we need an apprenticeship in forensic science, for example. So industry will get together, will work out what they want and get that apprenticeship approved. And the Institute for Apprenticeship website will tell you, it's an amazing list, abattoir worker to youth worker, I think, not quite A to Z. But it will tell you what's in development. So I was looking the other day, for example, the midwife degree apprenticeship is currently going through pilot and will be out to be delivered in sort of 6 to 8 months' time, for example. So yeah, almost no limits. If industry think they want one, industry can write one.
Wow.
Right. Well, thank you.
Great advice.
Oh, isn't it just very much, this is another set of options that school leavers, and as you say, in later life, that you can look at. You don't have to just go down traditional routes. So it's great information. Thank you, Claire, for taking us through it.